$500 a month. That's it. No inheritance. No lucky stock pick. No moment where everything clicks and you suddenly have more money than you know what to do with. Just $500. Every month. On purpose. And if that sounds underwhelming, good. Because the people who think it sounds underwhelming are the same people who'll be working at 67 wondering why nobody told them about this earlier. Someone did. They just made it sound boring. So let's try again. Let's start with the math, because the math is the whole point. If you invest $500 a month starting at 25, and the market returns its historical average of roughly 10% annually, by the time you're 65, you'll have somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.9 million. You contributed $240,000 of your own money. The other $2.6 million? That came from doing absolutely nothing except not touching it. If you wait until 35 to start, that number drops to just over $1 million. Still life-changing, but you lost nearly $1.9 million by waiting 10 years. 10 years where you contributed exactly $0 extra. That's the cost of waiting. Not the cost of being broke. The cost of being indifferent. Here's the problem. $500 feels like money right now. It feels like a flight somewhere. A new phone. 3 months of a gym membership you'll actually use for 3 weeks. The human brain is terrible at valuing things it can't see or touch yet. Future money to your brain barely exists. Present money is real. Immediate. You can feel it leaving. This is why most people never start. Not because they don't understand compound interest in theory. They do. They've seen the charts. They've nodded along to the videos. But understanding something and actually moving $500 out of your account every month are two completely different actions. The fix isn't motivation. Motivation is unreliable. The fix is automation, which we'll get to. But first, let's talk about where this money actually goes. This is where most people overthink it into paralysis. So here's the short version. Door 1, your 401k, up to the employer match. If your employer matches contributions, this is the first place your $500 should go, or at least part of it. Getting a match is an instant 50% or 100% return before the market does anything. There is no investment on earth that beats free money. Door 2, a Roth IRA, up to the annual limit. After the match, this is the next stop. You contribute post-tax dollars, the money grows, and when you pull it out in retirement, you pay zero tax on any of it. Zero. The government gets nothing. That's the deal, and it's a remarkably good one. The 2024 contribution limit is $7,000 a year, roughly $583 a month. Your $500 fits neatly inside that. Door 3, a taxable brokerage account. If you've maxed both of the above and still have money left, this is where the rest goes. No special tax treatment, but also no restrictions on when or how you access it. Most people reading this are at door 1 or 2. Start there. Once the account is open, you need to buy something. And this is where people either freeze completely or make their first expensive mistake. The answer for most people is boring on purpose, low-cost index funds. Not the hot stock your coworker mentioned. Not sector ETFs. Not anything your cousin texted you about at 11 p.m. A broad market index fund, something that tracks the S&P 500 or the total stock market, gives you a slice of hundreds or thousands of companies at once. When the market grows, your money grows. When the market dips, you hold and wait, because it always has recovered. Look for funds with an expense ratio under 0.1%. That's the annual fee the fund charges. Anything above 1% is quietly eating your returns year after year in a way that compounds just as aggressively as the growth does, just in the wrong direction. Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab all have options here. Pick one. The difference between them is smaller than the cost of overthinking it. Here's the part nobody shows you, because it's not exciting enough for a thumbnail. For the first few years, your $500 a month will feel like it's doing nothing. Your account will grow, dip, grow again, and mostly look like a number that isn't large enough to matter yet. This is normal. This is the part where most people either quit or convince themselves they need a better strategy. They don't. They need to keep going. By year 5, you'll have contributed $30,000, and your account might be sitting around $38,000. Not life-changing. Slightly encouraging. By year 10, you've put in $60,000 and your balance is roughly $102,000. Now you start to feel it. The growth is visibly outpacing your contributions. By year 20, Your $120,000 in contributions has become somewhere around $343,000. The money is doing more work than you are. By year 30, $180,000 IN. Balance, over $1 million. The gap between what you put in and what you have has become almost philosophical. This is compound interest. It's slow at first. Then it's the whole game. At some point in your investment journey, probably multiple points, the market is going to do something alarming. Your balance will drop 20%, 30%, maybe more. The news will be dramatic about it. People around you will panic sell. Here's what you do: nothing. The investors who lose money in market crashes are primarily the ones who sell on the way down and miss the recovery on the way up. Staying invested through a downturn isn't bravery. It's just understanding that you're not invested in a month or a year. You're invested in decades. If anything, a market dip is a sale. Your $500 that month buys more shares than it did the month before. Dollar cost averaging, which we covered in the last video, means the dip is working for you, not against you. The worst thing you can do is stop investing when the market drops. The second worst thing is to start obsessively monitoring it. Neither of those changes the outcome. One of them ruins your mood. $500 is a number chosen for this video because it's round and relatable. It is not a minimum. It is not a membership fee. There is no velvet rope on compound interest. $100 a month invested at 25 still becomes over $500,000 by 65. $200 a month gets you past $1 million. $300 a month, and you're looking at somewhere around $1.9 million. The math scales cleanly in both directions, which means starting small isn't a consolation prize. It's still the same game, just a slightly smaller opening bet. What doesn't scale is waiting. Every year you delay, you're not just missing contributions. You're missing the growth on those contributions and the growth on that growth. That's the part the calculator makes look abstract until you run the actual numbers. A single year of delay at 25 costs you more in final balance than 5 years of extra contributions later. It's counterintuitive, and it's completely true. So here's the actual framework if $500 isn't where you are right now. Figure out the number that won't hurt. Not the number you aspire to. The number you can move out of your account this month without it creating a problem. For some people, that's $200. For some, it's $75. Start there. Then build in a trigger. Every time your income goes up, a raise, a new client, a side hustle payment. Increase your investment amount before you adjust your lifestyle to the new income. This is the move. Lifestyle inflation is the reason people earn more and feel exactly the same. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is the only number that actually matters, and every raise is a chance to widen it before you accidentally fill it with subscriptions and upgraded habits. If you do this consistently, start small, increase whenever income rises, you'll likely hit $500 a month without it ever feeling like a sacrifice. Because it never came out of money you were used to spending. The goal isn't $500. It never was. The goal is building a habit that runs on autopilot and compounds quietly in the background while you get on with your life. This is the step that makes or breaks everything else. Not the fund selection. Not the account type. This one. Here's the thing about willpower. It's not a character trait, it's a resource. It depletes. Every decision you make during the day, what to eat, what to reply to, what to prioritize at work, draws from the same pool. By evening, the quality of your decisions is measurably worse than it was in the morning. This is well documented, and it applies directly to your finances. If investing $500 requires you to make a conscious decision every month, to open the app, log in, transfer the money, navigate to the right fund, confirm the purchase, you will eventually skip it. Not because you forgot about the video. Not because you stopped caring. Because it was a Tuesday and you had 11 other things going on, and the month ended. Manual investing relies on your best self showing up every single month for the next 40 years. That's not a plan. That's a wish. Automation fixes this completely. You set it up once, the amount, the date, the destination fund. And from that point on, the investment happens whether you're on top of your finances or in the middle of the most chaotic week of your year. The money doesn't wait for you to feel motivated. It just moves. Most major brokerages support automatic, recurring investments. Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, they all have this built in. The setup takes one afternoon, maybe less. You choose your fund, set the amount, pick a recurring date that lines up with your pay schedule, and confirm. That's the whole process. After that, the only thing automation asks of you is that you don't cancel it during a market dip out of panic. Which, if you watched part 6, you already know not to do. One afternoon of setup. For decades of results. That ratio should make this feel like an obvious priority. Because it is. $500 a month. That's been the whole conversation. No secret account. No proprietary strategy. No moment where you need to know something other people don't. Just a fixed amount, moved automatically into a fund that tracks the market, left alone long enough for the math to do what the math does. The reason this works isn't complicated. It works because most people don't do it. Not because they can't, but because nothing about it feels urgent right now. The reward is 40 years away. The sacrifice is this month. And human brains, as we've established, are not great at that trade-off without a system in place to make the decision for them. You now have the system. What happens if you invest $500 every month? Roughly $2.9 million over 40 years at historical market averages. More importantly, and this is the part the number doesn't capture, you stop thinking about retirement as a thing that might work out. It becomes something that's already in motion, already handled. The anxiety around it quietly goes away, replaced by something that feels a lot like not having to think about it anymore. That's the actual return on investment. Start this month. Automate it so it doesn't depend on next month's version of you. Increase the amount whenever your income does. And check back in about 30 years. The math will have done the rest. If this helped, subscribe, and drop your start date in the comments. Someone watching this needs to see that people actually do this, and it actually works.